Today is July 31st, 2023. I have a lifesaver on my tongue. That's why I'm lisping. It's almost melted. So I woke up late today. I made one trade on my personal account. I saw that Google was trending down, so I bought a put. I was right. I set the limit for sell limit for $2 for my options, but I sold early. Had I gone for a buck 50, I would have hit that target, and it would have made a substantial percentage. Lately, I've been watching. Uh, I've been watching how professional poker players play poker, and one memorable situation occurred between a um, somebody who just turned pro and somebody who is really a real pro. So one hand was played, and so what I noticed is that the real pro looked at the situation at the river. He did not have much of anything, and then he made a oversized bet. And when he made that oversized bet, because he was a chip leader, the other person uh, just shrunk. I mean, shriveled up like a nervous chihuahua at a vet. And then he tanked, meaning that he was in deep thought. Then he folded. Had he called on that bet, or he had gone in all in, he would have first of all had better cards, and he would have won the hand. But that was a substantial amount of gain. So that's a substantial amount of pot. There seems to be when I looked at that, I thought, there's some similarities between day trading and gambling. It is in the fringes of, because nothing is certain, and so certain parts of it is gambling. Essentially it's gambling. So the reality of the situation is, and then I've been talking with my I've been exchanging my text message with a trading buddy of mine, and I thought, one of the most lucrative times in day trading is actually at the open. The open is very, very volatile, and so many things occur at the open, and the movement is very, very fast. But if I were to trade a little bit later, there is a trend that is established during the day. So based on prediction of the trend, then I can take my time, sort of like a swing trade, to make my trade. Now, when a trade is made during the open, it is very volatile, and the amount of information, for me anyway, is 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 beyond my comprehension at this moment. So what seems to be happening is trading is very similar to Las Vegas. So as soon as I walk into the casino, there's slot machines everywhere, right? So essentially, it's just pure gamble. That's the part right there. Just pure gamble. Unless there's some statistical thing that occurs that tells me, hey, certain things occur, which require certain skill sets. And so, as soon as I walk into the casino, it's just like slot machines everywhere, right? And the house is a statistical advantage, no matter what. It is a given because they dial the returns on it. They can dial it in. So after a week, they can dial it. They can taper it so that certain individuals make certain amount, certain individuals certain amount. But at the end of the week, end of the month, end of the year, the casino always wins on that casino. So it's a foregone conclusion what happens there. Then there's the part of where the table gaming is, right? The table game. So in the table gaming, there's poker, and poker is a game of skill. And whoever has the skills, who has the information, who is able to delve into each of the individuals, see what the quirks are of the opponent, figures out, just like a stock. Now, when a person initially sits down and the person is totally new, there's no way to understand unless there's some historical basis to conclude what type of person the person is. If the person does uh, essentially what most people play honest, and then there are people who bluff, and sometimes professionals bluff on purpose just to set the game straight that the person is able to bluff. Then you don't know what the person is going to do, what kind of card it is, and you got to show the bluff and say, hey, look, this is what I did to bluff you off. And then at the time when the person has a real good card and you think, oh, that guy's bluffing, that's when big money is won. So it's like at within a single day, there's a pre-market, which is the futures market, and then the futures market spills over to the opening. The opening is very volatile because all the transactions, most of the volumes occur at the onset based on the news that occurred to readjust itself to what's going on. Essentially, the market is readjusting to the market conditions of the news that are being bombarded into it, such as earnings or whatever it is. So that's when the earnings occurs, and that's where bulk of the money is exchanged, just like a slot machine. And then towards the middle of the day, sort of a trend is established where, just like poker, people figure out what the trends are and figure out how to make the right trades. And then at the end of the day, there is that roulette table. When the end of the day closing, when there's when the day is about to conclude, there is a period at a point where the market just spikes, just to conclude, or tapers off to on a Friday to hold over for the weekend because people don't want to hold it over the weekend, and so there's a selling pressure that occurs, and so there's a roulette table. What roulette table does is that there's approximately like 36 to 1 odds. If I pick a number, and if the ball lands on the number, then I get 36 to 1. So essentially, if I have $100,000, it'll be 3.6 million bucks. So at the end of the day, when all the risks is done and it's finally there, I put the whole thing on there towards the end of the day and say this is the end of the day, and it closes the market. So essentially, it is very, very similar to me at this juncture in my trading career, is that day trading is very similar to Las Vegas. And one of the most intriguing part about day trading is that just like that poker player who's a professional and this professional who's just became a professional, there's a huge contrast in the way that the person plays the same hand. The same hand, this seasoned professional poker player and this semi-professional who's gotten into becoming a professional poker player, there's a contrast in the way that the person trades because there's a seasonality, there's seasoning, there's experience, there's a drastic amount of experience on the same type of trade the person makes. And so between those two, on a long-term basis, based on the fact that the persons are in a state of constance, projected out further, at the end of the day, the person who's more seasoned uh, has a statistical advantage to clean up the table. And so that's why you have individuals who are seasoned traders who are able to consistently make money from the market. So that is very similar to individuals who are 95% who really most of their time is spent doing their 9 to 5 jobs, and they're taking their hard-earned money trying to do something. It's like sitting at a poker table. There's like Indian games around, and people who leisurely goes over and attempted to play poker with this guy who just sits there, who sits down, looks around, checks everything out. Oh, hey, there's the so essentially when a person sits down, you know who's a professional because they take the money. They know how to trade. They know how to take money from weekend recreational poker players who are just who are there to put the money and see what happens, versus individuals who study the market, individuals who put in the time, individual who has experienced that part of it, where they've worn the shoes that this person in the table who is novice, a recreational trader, used to be. Then they use that because they are seasoned, experienced professional poker player and a trader. So they're able to make money on a consistent basis. That is the distinction between a professional day trader and a novice day trader. And eventually, the professional day trader will win out.